All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Waity Lightheart from the Prosperity and Health Alliance. We're excited. We're delighted to have you for another Monday night meeting. It's going to be action-packed. It's going to be on fire about a couple of things, some crazy times we're living in. Where it seems like we're in riot season. So we have the question I sent out there tonight was, is it riots? Is it a recession? Is it a recovery? Which is it? Like what, and does it matter? So let me ask you a couple of quick questions to think about. Right? People are like, well, should I be rioting? Should I be, should I be focused on recovery? Are we going into a recession? What should I do politically? All that sort of stuff. And here's the thing, right? I mean, I wrote this in my email for a reason, and I'm just checking a couple things as we kind of get wound up into this webinar, because as we get people on board. And what does it really mean? Like, does it matter, honestly, what we do choose? Does it really matter if we're voting? I mean, let me tell you something real simple. It doesn't matter if you're left. It doesn't matter you're right. If you're not making 75 to 150K per year, focusing on the political debate, focusing on sports, and focusing on social media is a waste of your time. It's a waste of your time. Now, that's kind of crazy when you think about the facts that I love the political debate. I love what's happening in politics. I love geopolitics. I love what's going on in the world, economics. I'm interested in all those things. But the reality is, I wasn't focused on those till I got my income to a level that those things mattered. And let me give you a background. Look, I grew up in a very rural part in Canada. Blue collar parents, wasn't born with the silver spoon. You know the story. 5 miles to my nearest neighbor, 35 miles to the nearest decent town, 55 miles to a city. And, my sister dying, and I was in part of, frankly, a racist community. Yes, there's racism in Canada and the United States, French and English. And there was not a lot of opportunities. I had no pathway to business. I had no money. And I didn't have anybody in my history that had an education or a business agreement or anything else like that. So I was angry and I was frustrated. Like a lot of people today are angry and frustrated with what's going on in the world. And they're getting jacked up about, which party to support or which group to vote for, or they're having arguments with their family members and their friends over whether, the political leaders are, idiots or saviors. They're freaking out about COVID-19. People are staying home. Businesses are closing because of it. And for the most part, it's all low resolution thinking. Here's why. There's a guy that did a research on happiness by the name of Dr. Daniel Kahneman. And what's really interesting about him, he's a very interesting kind of psychology and sociological kind of commentary. He's a PhD, studies all this sort of stuff. And he said, it's interesting. It's interesting that you need about 75 to 150K, and that, depending on where you live in the world, and that'll give you a quality of life that more income doesn't increase your happiness that much. It's other things in life. Contribution, spirituality, family, all those things. So the thing is, but It's the number one factor that's going to contribute to your quality life, health and happiness and relationship success and all that to get to that point. So what's my point? Don't lose sight of your future. Like, politics are a distraction. Sports are a distraction. Social media is a distraction. Don't be distracted. Keep your eye on the prize. You know, when I got into bodybuilding when I was younger, I had no skills. I had no ability. I had no talent. It took me 10 years to win my first contest. But I'll tell you what, I didn't get distracted. I couldn't tell you who was running for office, okay? I didn't have a social media account, okay? And I had no television for 14 years. In fact, when I first started my online business, I didn't even own a computer because I didn't own that because I was not distracted. I was focusing, getting in my goal, and that was win a national championship and go to the Mr. Universe. I got to the national champion, the Mr. Universe, and then came business opportunities from that allowed me to translate into the business world. A few years later, I got into Enagic, and then now I've got a couple of great companies that are doing very well. And now I pay attention to geopolitics and economics and stuff. And I'll tell you why, because who I vote for, where I live, how I distribute the taxes that I pay is going to be powerful in the influence of my business, in the influence of what happens locally where I'm living or where I am going to live, and how I'm going to allocate the resources that I build up in what I feel is the most universal way, or the way that helps society the most, because that's the opportunity. But I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing any of that to get past that level, past that 150K level. So you realize that all of these things are designed. Let me just tell you about all these. Social media, sports, and politics are designed to activate your amygdala, which is the lower brain center, the emotional center, and that impairs your ability to see clearly, to see objectively, to get past biases. And if your economics are threatened, if your politics are threatened, if your sports team is engaged in drama of any type, you're activating the amygdala, and see, that pumps out a lot of chemicals, and you get energized, or you get angry, or you get euphoric when you win, or you get intrigued because, you know, maybe your political candidate is going to jail, or his enemy is going to jail, or somebody is going to burn down your neighborhood, or someone's going to save your neighborhood, and all this sort of stuff. And to be frank, it's a waste of your time. You need to be focused on getting your income up so that you have influence, that you have clout, that you are not caught in these emotionalized stressors that take you out of the picture and get you frustrated and get you distracted and get you demoralized and get you manipulated into a cycle that will not allow you to progress. So, politics divide, prosperity unites. So, how do you focus on a plan, a proven plan to get yourself into prosperity? Well, you need a few things. Number one, you need a business that's recession proof. You need a business that's recession proof. What is something that everybody is going to use no matter what, in a recession, in a recovery, in a riot, in prosperous times? What is a business that can do that? And that isn't taken out by a riot, isn't taken out by a recession, isn't taken out by a political party, and something that everybody needs. Well, can you name a business like that? See, that's where Enagic is a perfect business. Number one, it deals with health. Number one, it's a business opportunity. And number three, it's a way to connect with like-minded people in a community that will help train. You don't need a lot of skills. You don't need a lot of background. You don't need a bunch of credentials. You don't need a lot of money. And you've got the backing of $1 billion distribution network that's globally around the world, so that you can continue to sell products, whether you're locked down, whether there's a riot in your neighborhood, whether the economy is going down. In fact, when the economy is going down, these businesses go up. And when the economy goes up, it's a great thing too. So that's a great business. That's a great reason why the Enagic business has been so successful for the last 45 years. Now, you need a product that people need, people want, and people love. What is more important to your body than water? Almost nothing. Air. But we all know that tap water is filled with chloramine and fluoride and chemicals and agents. We all know that bottled water is full of plastics. It's expensive. You got to go to a store and risk infection. Doesn't it make sense to have a water machine that's good for your health, good for your finances, good for the environment, produces disinfectant, produces cleaner, produces beauty water, produces 3 different types of drinking water, has a tax incentive program that makes it less expensive for your life to own a machine than it does not to. The machine more than pays for itself and its tax incentives, plus it has a business opportunity that anybody can learn within a few months and turn into a $75,000 to $150,000 a year income in 12 months. How do I know that? I've done it. So have a bunch of my friends. So have a bunch of people I recruit. I know a lot about this. I've done this. I know what people do to do it. I know what people do not to do it. And I can tell you one thing, people who don't do it focus on politics, they focus on sports, and they get distracted with social media. The people that do it learn this. They learn the product, they learn sales, and they hustle. They get out and talk to people about their product. So the bottom line is the third thing that you need, whether it's going to be a recession, whether it's going to be a different candidate, whether it's going to be an election year, whether it's going to be a riot, whatever it's going to be, is you need an economic program that can take you to do 2 things. Number 1, put cash in your hand now, quickly. You can make a sale, you get cash in the door right away. That's number 1. Number 2, you need to get some short-term cash, but you need long-term security. What do I mean by long-term security? Long-term security is something where you can build a business that grows whether you're working or not working, whether you're sleeping or working. A business that isn't limited to one geographical part of the universe or one geographical part of the globe, because there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of change happening. You want something that you can communicate electronically, whether you're locked down. You want something that has points of sales and distribution around the world. You want something that has a proven system, an effective product that people want, love, and need. And there's really nothing that tops the Enagic water business. The other thing is you need something that makes enough money that you can feed your family on it. I can't tell you how many people I know that got started in this business that had nothing, had no money, had no credit, had to borrow the money to get involved, to get started. And today, they're bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. And they're living an incredible lifestyle where they don't have to go to work. They don't have to go to an office. They can work from their phone, from their home. They're working all over the planet. And they're having a lot of fun doing it. And they're in a community that is united towards one goal, which is prosperity. Because guess what? If everybody is doing well, if everybody has money coming in, okay? If everybody's in that 75 to 150K zone, guess what? 99% of the problems of society are gone. They're gone. You see, prosperity is the answer to political division. End of story. You know what? If you're doing good and your friend's doing good and they're voting left, you're voting right, who cares? You go have a barbecue together. What happens is when person over here is not doing good and person over there is not doing good, now they're looking for reasons, they're looking for enemies, right? They're looking for a way to be a victim of somebody else so they don't have to take ownership and they don't have to take blame for their life. And that mentality will get you nowhere. That mentality will get you broke. That mentality will get you frustrated. That mentality will keep you under the thumb of whoever you think has got you under the thumb. So, let's ask a question right now. You got one of these phones, right? Tracks your hours, So the question is this: how much time are you spending right now on politics? How much time are you spending on watching sports? Probably not, because there's not any, or you have in the last year. And how much time are you spending on social media where you're consuming, not producing? Add those times up. I bet it's 10, 15, 20 hours a week. Not to mention the emotional distraction of it. So look, what I'm going to invite you to do is take 10 of those, take half of the hours you're wasting on those, cut it in half, dedicate it to this program. Get an Enagic water machine. Follow a sales program like Straight Line Persuasion by Jordan Belfort. Partner up here at the Prosperity and Health Alliance. Reach out to me, reach out to the person who sent this. Get on a call with us. We'll show you how to build this business. We'll help you contact your people. We'll help you close those people. You'll build a business. And the next 12 months, we'll mark out a pathway for you so that you can make 75 to 100K, 150K, excuse me, in the next 12 months. But here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to start doing things different. You're going to have to get out of the division, and you're going to have to work. If you can do those three things, we can get it done. If you can't do those three things, this isn't for you. So that's it. Short and sweet. No politics, no sports, no social media. Those three things: Enagic, opportunity, unity, community. We've got all of those. So if you're looking for something, if you're struggling to go back, if you don't want to go back to that job that you hated, if maybe that job that you hated doesn't even exist, you don't know what to do, or maybe you were in a good business situation before, something's changed. Maybe you're tired of the emotional draining component of being this whole political discourse. Bottom line is, you got to get yourself into prosperity zone. You got to get yourself in the happiness zone. You got to get yourself in the opportunity zone. You got to get yourself in the prosperity zone. Opportunity, unity, and community. We've got it. Come see us. I'm Lightheart, Prosperity and Health Alliance. We'll see you next week.